You're listening to the TalkBox sign. You're listening to the TalkBox. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, you're listening to the TalkBox sign. You're listening to the TalkBox. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your girl Sonia here on the TalkBox. We want to welcome you to Marvelous Monday this morning, and we want to give you some inspiration to help you along life's journey while you're on your way to abundant living. We have a special guest in the building. His name is Marcellas Harris, and today we got a great show for you guys, learning from tough self-inflicted situations. And we're just going to give testimony on today to inspire you throughout the week. Good morning, Marcellas. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sonia. How you doing this Monday morning? Hope you had a blessed weekend along with a blessed Mother's Day like the rest of the mothers that enjoyed their weekend with their families.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to tell you, thank you so very much for coming on today and sharing your story. I do believe that it's important. The Bible says that we are overcome by our testimonies. And sometimes we can't get ahead if we don't face and go through some of the things that we've gone through in the past. It kind of molds us into who we are when we take advantage of it. So if we're going to talk about learning from self-inflicted situations, could you give a little bit of your testimony?
Well, I'm originally from Miami, Florida, born and raised. And growing up, a person would look at my life and say it was very tough. It was very hard. But you know what? It was never tough. It was never hard because God don't do things tough. He don't do things hard. You may lack the understanding on what's going on, which is hard on you. And that's a tough choice you bring upon yourself. But what I went through and what I allowed myself to encounter, to get involved in, to indulge myself with, it was a hard decision on me. It was a hard choice on me. I just did 20 years in prison. I got locked up at 17 and I got out when I was 37. The day I got out of prison, I came to a different place. But before we get there, growing up in Miami, I witnessed a lot of drug abuse, a lot of abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault, sexual battery, things that happened to me as well as my family, my sisters, my mom. My mom was an addict. She was in the streets really, really, really hard. And, throughout all of the things that she's been through, throughout all of the things that she encountered, the glory in what happened with her while I walked down the journeys of the many journeys and witnessed the scars of the many scars and wounds she had, she loved me through it all. She showed me that, you know what? The world may say I am the worst partner, but your soul say I am the greatest partner. Because no matter what happens to me, I still know how to love you. No matter what happens to you, I still know how to love you. So I went to prison for 20 years for a violation of probation. I was on probation for a second-degree burglary, third-degree grand theft, and third-degree grand theft auto. But I had some other additional charges: a second-degree murder with a deadly weapon, possession of an armed assault rifle. But they couldn't book me on the hard stuff, the murders, the rifles, the bullets, and the drugs that I was doing. They managed to book me on the violation. So they say, well, listen, we're going to give you an option. If you admit violation of your probation, which was for the burglary, grand theft, or grand theft auto, we'll dismiss the murder charge. Assault rifle case, the case with the bullets in the drawer, we'll dismiss that if you admit violation over here and take 20 years. But if you don't admit violation, we'll book you on these murders. You will never get out, and we'll dismiss the violation. So to have a chance to get out and become a better individual, I didn't see then. I just didn't want to go to prison for life. So I took something that was lesser than life, but feels like life. I took 20 years. But before I even got to that point, the things that I was exposed to, the trafficking, guns, dirty money, bloody money, cocaine, crack, weed, stealing cars, doing all of that, man. Just watching people tear themselves down just to feel a certain type of way.
Right.
And it's not their fault, it's my fault. Today, even though I was young and didn't understand, but when I became a person that understood, it was then I kind of fault myself for that which I seen them partake in. Okay. Even though I didn't understand, like, you know what, I'm just out here selling drugs and trying to make money, but down and now when I think about it, I'm like, why? But at the same time, you can't feel regret and you can't say why about something that was clinically designed to make you a beautiful person. That's what it did to me.
Let me ask you something. So basically, you didn't understand the severity of everything while you were going through it, but now you see that God had a purpose in it. I think that a lot of people miss the fact that no matter how far down the wrong road you go, God's arms is long enough to reach you. And when he has something in store for you, something that he wants you to do, then he allows us to hit rock bottom. Do you say that's what kind of happened to you?
Yes, because it's like this, right? The greatest state you can go to with God in, the greatest appearance you can have with God is a naked appearance, is an exposed appearance, a blank piece of paper. Adam and Eve was a blank piece of paper. They choose to put things on themselves. And then when they choose to put them things on themselves, it don't mirrors God. That's why God, in so many words, was saying, I see you, but you're not me no more. Because you choose to add something to yourself that I deemed was beautiful. Now you're making it ugly. So when I was stripped of everything I was stripped of, I became naked, the original state of us, not man, the original state of us. I became naked. It was then an engine could be put in this car, his transmission, his exhaust system, his entertainment system, his leather seats. It was then he can take this vehicle and utilize it the way he wanted to utilize it in the free world while preserving it in prison.
Right.
While preserving it. So when he took it upon himself just to talk to me real small, his voice is not big and loud like people try to make it seem to be. Yeah. Because I can say yes or no in a strong way or a light way, but the way that is for you is beautiful. So I won't tell it to you. I will show it to you. I will show you the yes. I will give you the you know the yes. I will give you the approval. I will give you the seal. I will put these things upon you so people will understand the presence of me, your God, in your life. And when I was in prison, experiencing the things I was experiencing, watching officers beat up inmates faithfully, watching officers see beautiful women come work in the prison, and if she don't want to sleep with them, the officer tell all the inmates she's the H word. She's the B word. And then she be wondering why inmates pulling their penises out, masturbating on her because she chooses to keep her legs. And the inmates who don't know no better, which are naked, they take in anything and think what they see, that's what they see. Right. So they're not seeing you as a beautiful person. They're going to see you through the eyes of disappointment that somebody expressing in the field of lust, for you to be lustful, for you to be predatory in nature, for you to disrespect this woman simply because she want to keep her legs closed and go to work and go home.
Right. Somebody trying to do something else. Well, I tell you this as well. There's something that I always say. Even, I've been to prison in my lifetime, But I found when I did an evaluation on my life, I found out that I was in prison a long time before I went behind bars because of our childhood traumas and the things that we see. We can become emotionally in bondage, a type of prison, emotional bondage. When people, when our mothers, unfortunately, are not the mothers that we want them to be. When we go through, me as a female, go through molestation or rape or different things like that, we'll become in these prisons way before we go behind bars. So do you think, looking back on it, that you was in some type of emotional or relational prisons that had you locked up, that caused you to make some of the choices that you made?
I would say this here. I was so free, I had to go to prison.
Okay.
I was so free, I had to go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Because what was exposed to me, it didn't bind me or bound me. It didn't deter me. It didn't change me. Because if a person think about some of the stuff I've been through and went through, it'll make them bitter towards women because a woman raped me. It'll make me bitter towards men because a man gave my mom HIV. It'll make me bitter towards me because I gave my mom a crack. It'll make my sisters bitter towards me because I helped with the process of helping my mom die.
Yeah.
It'll just be, I mean.
So tell me, how did you get past the resentment and the regrets? How did you get past that? Because we want to show someone else, if they're going through the same thing, what do they need to do? What mindset do they need to get in because of their past failures or choices that they've made?
I'm gonna tell you this here. If he has two numbers in his hand, if he have a 1 in his hand and a 1 in his hand, he don't need afraid to put them together and get two. Stop being afraid to put things together. Stop being afraid of yourself. You was given yourself. God gave you you. Right. You have a choice to do something with what he gave you.
Right.
He didn't give you nothing for you to preserve. He does the preserving.
Yes.
He does the withstanding. He gave you something for you. He gave you a kitchen and it's full of food. He ain't coming in there to cook for you. He's not coming in there to feed you because he put it in you. You have the knowledge on what it takes to put things together, so when you present them, such as yourself, you be beautiful in nature and nurtured. Because I'm going to tell you this here. You ask a chicken and you ask a butterfly. If you had a choice, what would you not go through in life? They both to say that the egg and the cocoon, because they just want to be. Okay, so why is it you don't want to go through the egg and the cocoon? Well, the process of hatching and things like that. Oh, so in so many words, you don't want life to nurture you. Yes, I want life to nurture me. Okay, if you want life to nurture you, then go in that cocoon and go on that egg and come out when life is ready to present you.
Right.
So what people need to understand, when you go through things, you must go through things.
Yeah.
Go hang out with the storm. Don't become it.
Right.
Look at the monster. Learn from him. Don't become him. Because when you destroy a monster, you become what you destroy.
That's right.
You cannot destroy your monster unless you are one. You can't go work in prison unless you possess a criminal-like mind. You got to be clinically sounded or have some type of nature in you that can reflect to something that you're getting involved in when you're trying to defeat it. Stop trying to defeat. Bring it together. Understand you. Bring yourself together.
Here's the thing with that. What I see with different people, and what I have seen in me in the past, and from time to time now, if I'm not careful, when you're not able to acknowledge yourself, or you're not able to, I always say this, you can't fix what you don't face. So if you've gone through all of these different things, and now you've become a liar, you've become a cheater, you've become a murderer, you become this and that, until you can admit those things and walk in your truth, you can't heal from those things. And so a lot of times I see people who remain in bondage because they're not able to come to grips with themselves, that that's who I am, but that's not who I want to be. Right. Because the way I look at it is this: if you can't face it, then it can't be fixed anyway. If you can't acknowledge who you are right now, you can't get the keys to go further for the change in your life. And when you think about it, life is a process. It's a process of going from one level to another. I know that I went from being a crackhead to not wanting to use crack anymore, but then wanting to do different things in my life. But I had to go through a process, and most of the time people just don't want to go through the process. They don't want to go through the process.
And I'm going to tell you this here. The people who don't want to go through the process are the people who have achieved a lot of physical accolades that they can talk about from a physical standpoint. It's nothing to tell you about my hand, but it's something to tell you about my soul. It's something to tell you about my mind. Because the soul and the mind have the greatest presence when you go through things you have uncertainty with. Right. So when people refuse to put themselves together, when people refuse to not have these conversations from a clinical standpoint on who they are, what consists of their makeup, what makes them do the things that they do, they will never have an answer as to why, how, when, or where. So when they try to take it upon themselves and present something to you, you ask the how, what, when, where, and why. Yeah. Because you will have questions for somebody when the inside of you sense there is no answers. Mm-hmm. But to assure you a presence away from something that has no answer, it was triggers. And they will let you know, hold up. You will sense something, and then you ask the question to get to get the proof. I don't need to be here. So when I put me together within the midst of these presences of individuals, systems, people coming from the streets, my mind gave me questions to ask because my mind knew the answer. So I don't conflict with my mind. My mind gave me the strength to question, gave me strength to learn, and gave me strength to move on. Because I'm not trying to leave my mind in a place or somewhere that it don't need to be. Yeah. But if people just learn to just put themselves together first, don't turn to the system, don't turn to no doctor, don't turn to no specialist, because they only book smart. They only book smart. Books is limited education. A person who wrote the book got it from life. Why are you not getting it from life?
Well, let me push back on that for just a moment, because at the source of everything is our Creator. Exactly. And the first thing I think we should do is go to God first, number one. But God also give doctors and specialists and stuff. Those are their gifts that they have. But when we can walk in truth and transparency, let me tell you, you can go to every doctor on the planet, but if you're not going to tell them the truth about yourself, then you can't reach the healing. If you're gonna go to the pastor of the church, but you're gonna tell him a whole bunch of made up lies and your manipulating ways of saying something about a situation, a circumstance, or an issue, then you still can't get healed. There still has to be some truth and transparency, at least with yourself. And you know what I found when I was smoking crack? When I was smoking crack, I thought that nobody knew that I was a crackhead. That's how the devil will do you. He'll have you believe in your own lie. And as long as I believe that own lie, where don't nobody know, and then the next lie that Satan had me believing was I can quit at any time. That's why I used to tell myself I can quit anytime I get ready. But that was a lie. And until I got truthful and honest with my own self to say, you know what, I am a crackhead. And I need help because I don't know how not to get high.
You putting it together.
That and so that's that truth and transparency that can bring about a healing. You can't get healed without that. That's why people stay stuck. And then and what's amazing to me back then with my own self, and when people that I'm dealing with right now today, it was amazing looking back that I believed that stuff that was coming out of my mouth. Some folk will be sitting talking to you and they lying like no other, looking you dead in the face, and it makes no sense. But the enemy got you believing that you're getting over on somebody. But here's the truth of the matter. You can lie to me, you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to your creator. And if you want to learn from your mistakes, you have to learn how to walk in truth and transparency. Because when we don't walk in our truth, we can't get healed, we can't get delivered, we can't live the abundant life that God has actually given us permission to live. Because you can't build anything off of anything but the truth. My friend used to say, truth has legs, so it stands. A lie have wings, and it flies off. So I think the first thing we need to do when we're trying to learn from our self-inflicted wounds, because didn't nobody make me smoke crack, didn't nobody make me rob, didn't nobody make me steal, didn't nobody make me lie. Those were choices that I made. Those were self-inflicted wounds that I took upon myself. But I had to come to grips with it.
And it all starts with the fact that when you make these choices, I grab this remote and I press that power button, that TV come on or whatever it shows, I got to accept what this TV shows me. Because I made the choice to cut something on. I made the choice to entertain something. Now, guess what? I got to watch it. Now, when I watch it and I learn from it, I know what I have watched. I know what I have gained from what I have watched. I know what to do with myself and my life. Now I know how to present myself. So seeing the things I've seen, I make the choice to pick the drugs up, to pick the guns up, put them in the car, traffic here, go there, shoot this gun, shoot that gun. I made the choice to do that. The judge ain't come knocking on my door and say, hey, your son got it. I made the choice to go see him. Mm-hmm. I did. Right. So when I made that choice, you can't say it's unknowingly. Because everything you do, you know what you're doing. Yeah. The knowledge is around you. You mess up, you're going somewhere. The knowledge is there. So we cannot say it was unknowingly.
Well, you know.
And I'm gonna tell you something. Okay. The word unknowingly is not real. Because anything that has a presence, mm-hmm. it stems from knowledge, which is what you know. It is knowingly. It's not unknowingly. Right. Oh, I don't recall. What you mean you don't recall?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, look, check this out. I was watching a comedian the other day, and he said something so profound. He said that, when people try to say, well, I didn't know that hurt you, or I didn't know this, or I didn't know that. And he reminded us in his skit that God instilled in us a thing of right and wrong. That's in us. God created us like that. So he said, you're born knowing that you're not supposed to kill your mama. You're born knowing that you're not supposed to steal a lie. And you can tell that even with little bitty kids. When you talk to a little child, they done knock something off the table, and you say, did you do that? They say, but they get scared because there's something on the inside at birth that lets us know right and wrong. And as the years go by and the in our surroundings and that sort of thing, we can fine tune that thing to be a better person, or we can lean over to the other side and succumb to all of the negativity. The word says that bad company corrupts good character. That's why it's so important to assess your circle and who you hanging around, because birds of a feather flock together. So in knowing that, we need to try to learn from our mistakes and let them be building blocks instead of stepping stones. Well, Mr. Harris, do you have anything else that you would like to add today before we close the show out?
Well, I just want to add this to every single woman that follow Miss Sonia and follow the TalkBox. Today is Monday, but I just want to wish you mothers future better Mother Days, more kisses from your kids, more surprises from your relatives, more hugs and beautiful time spent with your husbands, your boyfriends, significant other. And I just want to wish more great days ahead for the women that understand that it's okay to be beautiful, it's okay to love, and it's okay to be strong and respected. That's what I want to say to you beautiful women and all her followers. It was nice meeting you guys. And I would like to just share one last thing with you. My Understood podcast will be up and running next week. I will have a lot of stuff to share with you guys, and just be on the lookout for it, man. And it was nice meeting you guys. It was nice talking to you, Miss Sonia. I love you, big sis. Right. Take care of Roscoe for me and Loki.
Yeah. Well, I do thank you for being on the show today. And I wanted to elaborate on your new podcast coming up. I want to congratulate you with that. At the Understood podcast. And I love what you have stood standing for. Could you tell us what does the STOOD stand for?
Understood. It's under STOOD. Means salvation that others often deny, which is why we are understood. So when you see this here, that's stood part. Stood means salvation that others often deny. That's why we are understood, because we are under salvation that others often deny.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for coming on the TalkBox. I want to remind you guys to make sure that you're subscribing to the TalkBox channel on YouTube. And remember that we are here every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. to help drive you while you're on your journey to abundant living, because that's what God have given you permission and authority to have. God bless you, and you guys have a great, wonderful day. And one other thing too, Marcellas, I just want to thank you for being so transparent on today. I know that your testimony will help someone else not hide behind an untruth, but walk in their truth. Have a good day.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. listening to the TalkBox side. You're listening to the TalkBox. Let's talk about it.